Hookup on KFOR.
Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning hookup. Phillips, Elijah Herbal. Boy, what a beautiful start to the morning. Hope your Tuesday's off to a great start. As you heard, that 9 o'clock keyword was soft. S-O-F-T, soft. That's that word at 402-258-2800. Elijah, can you use the word soft, either related to something or someone or in a sentence, please? Soft. S-O-F-T. Definition. Say it.
Top class coach football.
Yes, soft. S-O-F-T. Good morning, Flood. Good morning, Arlo. He's in Taco Tuesday. Good morning, Shane.
See, this is an interesting Tuesday for me, Hugsy. You know why?
Well, you were up there you were like a professor this morning.
That's not.
Oh,
yes,
not okay.
I did talk to a lovely class from Briar Cliff this morning. Sat down with them via Zoom. Technology is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
But more importantly, not that that's not important. Talking to the future. But more importantly, it's my first Tuesday in 9 months without bowling league.
My goodness, you're right. Your wrist is getting a break.
I don't know what I'm going to do for myself. You know?
Well, I think you just got it. There's a lot now in front of you.
I mean, I know they
have house stuff. Is there
we did at the house last? I shouldn't say we because most of the work had been done by the time I got home.
Mm-hmm.
We went through. We have a full backyard renovation kind of.
Let's go.
So we cut down a tree yesterday. It was dead, but it wasn't a huge tree. Cut that down yesterday. We aerated the backyard. We tilled up the backyard. Got some grass seed down. Got some fertilizer down. I was supposed to water that grass before I came in this morning. Did not. I'll do it when I get home.
But can't your Tuesdays right now in the break just turn into when they're beautiful nights, doing that project? There's the grill maybe going on. It's grilled Tuesdays.
If we get about 15, 20 more minutes of sunlight,
you know what I'm saying?
It could be a 9-hole Tuesday.
9-hole Tuesday, grill out Tuesday with patio beverages.
We're currently about, like I said, 15, 20 minutes short of when I get home of being able to get at least 7 or 8 holes in, which if I'm going to pay for 9 holes and I get 7 or 8 in before the sun goes down, I can deal with that.
You feel like you got it.
I can deal with that. Right now we're at this 5 or 6 hole, depending on how busy a course is. So I just need another 20 minutes of sunlight in the evening.
Yeah. Didn't it feel like those nights that you're I usually have something, when you don't, you're oh, I was just gifted so much time.
Yeah.
Baseball season has started for us and my kids love it, man. They love it. But now on Mondays, because we practice Mondays for a long time. Now we don't practice on Mondays. It's whoo. Kids are in the backyard playing. Kids are out my kids are in the driveway shooting hoops together. It's you just were given a gift of time. And you can take advantage of it, especially with the summer, the spring. I'm looking forward to those. I love weekday nights where there's nothing going on, where you can sit on the patio and just chill and enjoy the nice spring night, summer night, whatever it is. Just amazing. You go for a walk? Well, yeah, something like that.
And on Tuesdays also they at the what's the best way to put it? It's because it's not the $5 movie deal on Tuesdays anymore. It's now what do they call it?
I don't even know, but my wife's going to a movie tonight. You got to do the Mystery Mondays. That's when you're at the movies.
Yep.
I don't know what Tuesdays are now.
I think it's $6 and change now.
On Tuesday? Well, yeah. Well, yeah, prices are going up.
But there's no good movies out right now that I care to see. I know everyone's watching this Michael Jackson movie.
I don't know. I didn't know.
It's not a movie I need to see in theaters.
Nope.
Because to me, whenever I'm going in theaters, I'm going for the sound experience and the big screen experience. Mm-hmm. And a Michael Jackson movie does not strike me as that type of movie that needs to be seen in theaters. I went to Project Hail Mary in theaters was worth the watch in theaters. The cinematography in that movie is really, really good. It's a space movie, so
I'm the last guy going to the movie. My wife's going tonight to a late movie, so she'll be out doing that.
I go for the popcorn mostly.
Do you get the big one?
Yeah, and I get the refill.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a weapon.
Yeah, you're.
I am a weapon that targets popcorn at the movies.
Popcorn.
When I'm telling, I have made my roommates question me about my popcorn eating habits. Because it can't be safe. the amount of popcorn.
Yeah, get your hands away.
Like it's like I'm talking. We're getting the large popcorn for myself. I'm finishing that thing by the end of the previews, 15 minutes into the movie.
What?
Yeah.
That's how aggressively you eat popcorn?
But it leaves to the point where I go get the refill, and then
Currently, you can't do that, can you?
No comment. I could still do it. The popcorn, it goes down so easy.
Yeah. Popcorn, it gets to me. I like popcorn. Kind of hurts the tummy.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
That's the price
But
it's
yeah.
It's a price I'm willing to pay.
Big day today. We got Nebraska baseball. We're going to talk here in a minute. Robin Wash at HuskerOnline.com. Brian Munson with HuskerOnline.com. But boy, big stories out there with college football. One transfer quarterback we'll talk about. Also, I know it's only Tuesday, but we want to prepare you. First of all, tomorrow, Husker legend Henry T. Buchanan. But you're going to get 2 days of T. T's going to come on tomorrow. He's going to come on Thursday.
Why is he coming on Thursday?
We have a special guest. 10:15 Thursday, the return of National Coach of the Year, Fred Hoiberg. He'll be on with us, Elijah and I, at 10:15 Thursday, the National Coach of the Year, Coach Fred Hoiberg.
One more time?
The National Coach of the Year, Coach Fred Hoiberg.
And what time is that?
10:15 on Thursday.
Mark it down.
Mark it down.
Mark it
We're
down.
gonna have a lot of fun. And yes, for all you asking out there, we have already sent Henry T. the list of questions you cannot answer with recruiting violations. Okay? Pretty much what it says is current players only. That's it. Don't talk about anybody else. But again, don't miss out. We'll continue to tell you. We will preview it as well. Coach Fred Hoiberg, National Coach of the Year, will join the morning hookup with Elijah and myself and Henry T. Buchanan, 10:15 on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a lot of fun with Coach. Yeah, it's huge, man. It's just a pleasure to have him on. Because we get a chance to get to know Coach and kind of get those questions to him that maybe he doesn't get because it's so not scripted when he gets to do interviews, but it's more program-based, player-based, offense, defense-based. It's just so many hard hitters, I guess.
Think about the interviews that you typically get with Coach. It's 15 minutes on a national show where they're trying to both speak to some Husker fans, but also a national audience. We'd like to dive into these questions here that for what we're talking about, probably about 30 minutes on Thursday, that the local folks around here that follow Husker basketball and know all the big picture questions kind of already know. And we want to dive into some more interesting things, about Coach and his development and how things changed from early in his career at Nebraska to what it's like now. That portal window and what it was like building this new roster with guys on roster that Big Ten 6th Man of the Year, a first team All Big Ten player, a potential All-American candidate next year. How different is it to go out there and build a roster with some of those things on the roster? Also compare it back to where things started out here. Yeah, talk Coach about some golf. Yeah, golf, and we will go back. We'll go back and get his experience, his team's experience in the tournament. What that was like to be down in Oklahoma City. I mean, I can't have Hooksy right behind the bench.
Woo, yelling at Coach. Oh, yeah, 10:15 Thursday.
What's it like having a massive ginger right behind the bench screaming at you for home games?
10:15 Thursday, National Coach of Your Husker Coach Fred Hoiberg will join the morning hookup. Tonight, boy, I know we keep saying this, but it's like big game. Nebraska baseball, where we have 12 games left, roughly, right? 12 games ahead of us. Speaking to Evan yesterday, they play tonight. They're to be down at Haymarket Park, which is why Coach Boulder said, hey, come pack Haymarket Park tonight. I think when you get stuff like that from coaches, it's the stretch run. And these coaches and these players, they know what the next 11 or 12 games mean. 12 games. They know what it means because everywhere you look right now, Nebraska baseball is hosting a regional, all the projections. What does it mean? The rest of the way out. They get K-State tonight. Tucker Timmerman coming off a really quality start in Lawrence. Yeah, will get the ball.
Didn't have his best appearance on Saturday.
No.
Kind of struggled once he got into that 8th inning. But you like what you've seen from Tucker. How does he respond to that? The number, and Justice and I talked about this yesterday afternoon, the Average Joe Sports Show. It feels to me to be 40 or 41. If you can get there and then make it to the weekend of the Big Ten tournament, which would put you as a top 4 team.
Well, I think that's
if you make it to that weekend of the Big Ten tournament as a 40-win team, I think your regional spot is close to secured.
Yeah, And I think, speaking with Evan yesterday, and again, you know how we like to do. We like to go, all right, you got 12 left. What do you need? Evan threw out, you know what? You'd feel really good, 9-3 down the stretch. Now, again, because you saw last week where Illinois, not a good baseball team, but, in the grand scheme of all of this, you dropped one because you got 6 more of these on the road, right? Counting tonight, there's only 4 home games left. 6 of your Big Ten, 6 of your last 9 are on the road. So tough to go play on the road, right? Especially now you're going into teams that aren't that good on paper, but they look to play the spoil role. And again, if you go back across all baseball teams, everybody, I'm going to say almost everybody, not everybody, but almost, has a really good Friday starter that gives you trouble, right? And what it looks like from our Friday starter to get to. But K-State tonight, they're going to do a right-hander out there. It's 5-2 with a 5.72. You can watch this at 6 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. It is one of those games. Again, Evan mentioned it yesterday. This is a K-State team that is reeling just a little bit. And this could be one that have to win. Have to win. Don't have that really nasty mark on your schedule because you have yet to do that yet. You have yet to have that naughty win or loss on your schedule. It's a big night for Nebraska the rest of the way out as you march towards that regional bid.
You just wish that it was like true late April, early May baseball weather
at
Haymarket Park.
Not tonight. 53 and blowing whatever. I think if I was looking at my kids, we're like, we should go. I'm like, man, it is going to be cold. And we have baseball practice. But first pitch tonight, so I'm going to bring this up because what is it, 54 for the high today? Possible little showers coming in. Maybe they've moved them off now, but I'm not sure. Pop-up showers.
Looks like that's going to be more in the 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock range.
So 6 o'clock tonight if you're out at the ballpark. 53, blowing 9, feels like 50. But as you progress through the night, it's going to maintain itself. It'll get the higher 40s feel. But again, unlike you were hoping in like this late April, you'd be like a 70-degree day, get to the ballpark, and it's about, high 60s. But that's not what you're getting tonight. But Nebraska goes out. Tucker Timmerman gets the ball. I think like any midweek game, when you got Tucker Timmerman out there, boy, just get us to 4, right? Get us through 4. If you're blessed to get through 5, then so be it. But get you to 4. I think this is one of those nights, if Nebraska can do it, get the bats rolling. It would be a huge, huge, huge bonus if you were to run roll this team tonight. Right? Swing the bats well. Low usage on the bullpen. Get yourself right to go. Get ready for the weekend.
And they are a team that, what's the best way to put it? Some of their back end of the pitching staff would be susceptible to giving up a lot of runs. You'll see how quickly you can eat into that bullpen, but this would be a team that would be susceptible, especially because didn't Kansas just smoke them over the weekend?
I was just going to bring them up right now, what they look like in the baseball world.
It was their first road sweep of K-State in a long time. I know that. And I need to get the scores here because they run roll them in one of them. It's one thing to check here. They run rolled them Friday night 18-6. They beat them Saturday 10-8. And they beat them Sunday 9-7.
Yikes. Yeah, so this is a team that is reeling just a little bit. What are they overall? They're 26-18 overall. Coming off a chaotic April. When you go back a little bit, dropping one to Oklahoma State. They lost to Omaha midweek. Arizona, like I said, they just got swept. So they've lost like 4 out of 5 roughly. And looking at their schedule.
And it should note here, you're even on the season with K-State so far. You lost one at which game was that? Arlington?
Yeah, early season.
Season, and then Nebraska beat them in Manhattan. Now you get that third rubber match of the series here. It's it's an opportunity. That's it.
That's a way to put it. I don't want to say. I think we've phrased it on the show as just can't lose. Have to have. Right, it's one of those you feel like you just have to have it to keep the momentum rolling because you got 2 more counting tonight, 2 midweek opportunities. Got K-State, Creighton on down the road a little bit. 9 Big Ten games left out there.
So it's and as Justin I said, I think 7-4 down the stretch would do it for you. So I think you could go 2-1 every single weekend series, and you split the midweek. That gets you to 40.
Yep.
I think you'd prefer to be at 41 wins going into a Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're at 40 wins going into a Big Ten tournament, you're firmly in that hosting conversation. So
well, that and plus, I think there is a optic. If you look at when you're all said and done with this, the optics of finishing second in the Big Ten versus third in the Big Ten might have some of that as well. Right. And again, first place is out of reach.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you that right now. Okay. But you're only 2 games up on Oregon from the second and third place in the Big Ten. So, all right. Good stuff. 6:00 tonight, Big Ten Plus. Let's take our first break. When we go to break, don't be soft. SOFT. Text that word to 402-258-2800 for a chance to win $1,000 sponsored by Liberty First Credit Union. But we're going to take that break, come back with Husker Online's Robin Washut. Fred has I think Coach has a theme song. You got a big task. What song now? Or do you bring on clips?
what song do you play for Fred?
I don't know. Back again. I don't know. What do you?
We got 2 days to think about it.
Yeah, you got 2 days to think about it. If you guys got any suggestions out there hanging out with us, just throw us some songs for Coach. What do you got?
I'll think of something.
Yeah, I know. See, it's clicking now, isn't it?
I'll think of something. Might just need a moment of divine inspiration.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's one of those great questions. Coach on the golf course and music or no music?
We've had this conversation before. You know, I'm not anti-music, but I'm a no music guy. You know.
Yeah,
I'm fine if you want to listen to tunes. I'm all about it.
And I'm totally down.
But I'm not going to bring the speaker.
Yo, you better have your own music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my own.
We're not running off my phone.
Even though you probably got a sweet playlist.
I mean, come on now. You know I do, but I like to hear the birds chirping. Feels like Augusta, you know.
Yeah, you can also do like Augusta and play that off your phone. Pipe in the music. Let's go. What? Welcome back to the morning hookup. It's that time. It's our guy Robin Washut, HuskerOnline.com. Washut, what's up, brother?
What's the good word, fellas?
You know what? I was so happy for you yesterday. You and I were going back and forth. You've entered into the world with kids that you get to do cool things together. And getting haircuts together with my boys is one of the best things I love doing.
Well, because you go to a place that makes it a lot more entertaining than my barber shop. So
Yeah, but-
you've got a little bit of a leg up on that one.
Yeah, but you got one of the coolest shops out there, too, with the lady that does
That's true. That's true. She's the best. So it's fun. It's, my kids both have longer hair, so they don't get a lot of haircuts. But when they do, it's a big deal.
I gotta give a shout out to my guy Andy. Takes care of me.
Oh, now we're shouting out barbers on the show.
I gotta shout out my guy Andy. I actually need to get back in there. My hair's gotten long. I was thinking maybe I do go with a little longer look. No, I'm an adult. You know, keep it high and tight up top.
Yeah, haircuts are the best days, by the way. Robin, hey, Rob, I have a question for you. We've got Coach coming up on Thursday, 10:15 on Thursday. He gets to hang out with us. We were just talking about thinking about it, and you getting to know Fred the way you know Fred. There's a lot of stuff we got to do, but do you have a song you think we should play when we bring Fred on? I know.
That's a good question.
I'm just throwing it at you,
Okay. So I remember there was those Big Ten Media Day interviews where they just ask coaches worst airport or best pizza or whatever like that.
Yeah.
One of them was a music related one, and he gave an answer, and I can't remember what it is. So maybe try to search for that to get an exact one. Otherwise, I don't know. I'd probably go for some sort of hardcore rap. I think that's the best way to go about it when in doubt.
I was thinking all I do is win, 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 or something like money, money, money.
I can guarantee you I ain't playing Red Kingdom.
Yeah, good. I'm with you on that one.
That is a Chief song, not a Husker song. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
And nobody likes that. Yuck.
I agree. Just like the Bulls song is the football's entrance song, isn't it?
Hey,
yeah.
Speaking of the Chiefs, Emmett Johnson off to the Chiefs. Want to get your thoughts on that, and want to get your thoughts on the Giants draft, a draft that a lot of folks have had some pretty high ratings on.
Yeah. I thought the Emmett pick, we have a buddy who thinks every player is a perfect fit for the Chiefs, but I honestly think that this is a legitimate case where Emmett's skill set does fit well in what the Chiefs do offensively. I look at him like a Jerick McKinnon type, when the Chiefs had that really good season, Jerick McKinnon was a critical third down back for them that in the playoffs especially played a bunch of snaps and was kind of a critical piece for them in the most important games. I think Emmett could have a similar type of role, maybe not that impact right away, but I think he could fit into that role really well. So I thought it was a good spot for him. And, at least Nebraska got somebody on the board to keep it from being a total skunk like Wisconsin did. But a good spot for him, and I think he's got a chance to flourish. With the Giants, I thought, it was good. But with 2 top 10 picks, it better be good. I'm not giving him too much credit for picking twice in the top 10 and not getting terrible players. So when you've had so many top 10 picks over the years, they don't really excite me all that much because the last 10 that we've picked really haven't amounted to much. So we'll see. I thought it was a good start, good players, but the Giants have a lot of holes to fill, so the job's not done.
Again, we're speaking to Robin Wash with HuskerOnline.com. We'll watch it. Since we last talked, the Nebraska basketball did add another piece, another Fred Hoiberg style built type guard at 6'5", over 200 pounds. Taj, I'm going to mess his last name. I'm just going to call him Gorville. DeGorville. All right. I'm from the South. I have trouble with words, but that's okay. Give me thoughts, man. 6'5" guy. And again, there's another guy not shooting the three a whole bunch, but does carry that 35% clip with it.
Yeah, he's a potential guy. I mean, he can give him some minutes off the bench now, but I think he's a 2-year player. So I think the idea is that when you lose guys like Kale and, the guys, kind of those versatile do-it-all type of players, he can step up and emerge into that role. I know they're really high on his ceiling. The hope is that now that he's out of Dutcher's offense at San Diego State, he can actually have some flow to his offensive game. What I'm interested in, though, is, he's a good 3-point shooter, not a lot of volume, and he shoots a lot of mid-range. Just watching, his floater is probably his go-to shot. There's not a shot in basketball Fred Hoiberg hates more than a mid-range. So, I'm curious to see, what that picture looks like and, if they can evolve his offense more beyond that. So, it's an intriguing piece just because he is a bigger guard. He's a good defender, can do a lot of different things. He can initiate offense. He can play off the ball. So, I view him a little bit like kind of what McHale is in this system where, he can play multiple positions, do a lot of different things. He's not the best shooter, but he's good enough that he can pose the threat. And just kind of the jack of all trades type piece that, has done really well in this system over the years. So that's kind of how I view the Goreville, and, we'll see kind of if that offense can progress to make him a little bit more than just a complementary piece.
And a guy that comes from San Diego State, he's got to defend well. That is the key of playing there. What can he bring at potentially being a defensive piece that could come off the bench for this squad? I used last week the comparison of Emmanuel Bandamel. It's not perfect, but when I think about a role of a guy that could come off the bench and play some good defense, that's kind of the first name that comes to mind.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Kale is a probably more recent example of the guy that can defend multiple positions, can offensively play multiple positions, and I think he's bigger, he's more athletic. So you like to have that element on a team that kind of gets made fun of for not being the most athletically impressive team out there. Like, I think he gives them a little bit of that on the perimeter. So you need that in this conference. You need players that can be able to handle somebody's first step. And I think that the Goreville has that athleticism to, give them a little bit more pop on the perimeter with their defense. So if nothing else, he can carve a roll that way right away.
Wash it, as you do add that piece to the puzzle. You also lost a piece that a lot of people are going to go, well, it's just a strength and conditioning coach. But Kurt Joseph, moving on, man, talk about what that role and how important. I mean, that's been a massive role on this basketball team, from the size development, from the stamina development, all that stuff. And you could see it through player development at his time in Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that chalks it up as just a strength coach doesn't know what they're talking about, because he was a critical piece to this whole operation. I mean, there's probably not a coach on the staff that spends more time with the players than Kurt Joseph. I mean, he's the one that meets them when they arrive on campus in June and is with them every step of the way until the end of the season, every single day. And it's not just, lifting weights and running. Like, what makes Kurt Joseph so special is his kind of unique approach to the mental side of preparation and recovery and all that sort of thing. Like, his emphasis on yoga and meditation and like personal introspection, like, I think gets these players to kind of think about the game in a different way than maybe they ever have before in their careers. And you see, like, Sam Hoiberg, like, he constantly credits like the meditation and like just taking a pause to reflect and think and all those things, like how much that's helped his game and in his approach. And so, like, that was what made Kurt so unique, in my opinion. But then also, their emphasis on recovery. Like, I can't remember a Nebraska team that traveled with its own cold tubs, to road games, to where, like, immediately after the game in the visiting locker room, guys are in the cold tubs, helping their muscles recover from the game that they just played. A lot of teams don't bother with that, or they can't afford to do that, or whatever. So, that was another kind of wrinkle that Kurt Joseph brought to the table that, was kind of outside of the box type thinking. So it's a big loss. And there's a reason the New Orleans Pelicans, he's not just their strength coach. He's running their entire strength and conditioning program. Like, he is in charge of everything that the Pelicans are going to be doing that way. And so, like, that's about as high of a level as a strength coach can possibly get in basketball. And Kurt Joseph deserves it probably as much as anybody. So big shoes to fill for the Huskers. But, Fred found Kurt Joseph when he was just an assistant weight room guy with the Timberwolves. And so Fred's got connections. If there's anybody I would trust to go find someone capable of filling Kurt Joseph's shoes, it's Fred Hoiberg.
It's Robin Wash with us here, HuskerOnline.com, talking some Husker hoops. And Robin, as we kind of look ahead at the offseason, Nebraska's roster, it's not complete, I don't think, but you've made progress there. It's so big, the conditioning of the offseason, as we just talked about Kurt Joseph. But what other things are on your radar as we cover the Husker basketball team here this offseason from a I guess as this team kind of finds itself in what it's going to look like next season, what are some things that you're going to be watching for through the offseason? I know it's a broad question, and I kind of intentionally leave it broad for you to just give us your thoughts on the next few months ahead before this team really locks in for the fall practices.
Yeah. Well, I guess the kind of most pressing matters, you have 2 open scholarships or roster spots that you need to fill. So, there's still work to do in that regard. And I'm curious kind of their approach with that. I guess they did get some clarity now with, it looks like the 5-for-5 ruling will not retroactively include current departing 4th-year seniors like Jamarcus Lawrence. So as long as that holds true and, future lawsuits aren't complicating it more, then at least they can move forward knowing that Jamarcus probably won't be part of the equation. So, that was kind of a big unknown about, how they were going to have to plan this roster. Because if you could get Jamarcus back, that's like the ideal situation. But as of now, it looks like that's not going to happen. So, do they go try to get some younger developmental guys? I think they probably need one more front court piece and probably like more of the athletic 4 type player. Like they're not going to get another center. So like, or at least anybody that's going to come in and like compete for a starting job. So I think a athletic 4-man is probably the priority there. And, now that this 5-for-5 thing is kind of starting to clear up a little bit, they can, we'll see kind of how they progress with that going forward. And then as far as the actual team, they report to campus at June 7th. I think that's a Sunday. And then they have like their medical stuff for that first few days. But like, I think the big thing is, I talk about how they're not going to get a center. That's because they're putting a whole lot of faith in Leo Curtis. And this is going to be a massive summer for Leo Curtis because he's just strength and conditioning. That was a big thing that held him back. So like that part of it, but then just his development. And one thing to note is that unlike last year, when he left the team for about a month to go play with the Iceland national team, he's going to be staying in Lincoln. Like he might go home for a little bit, but he's going to do like the Berke approach last year, where Berke stayed on campus, and you saw how much better he got and how much better shape he was in and how much stronger and faster and comfortable he was in his role because of that. And so Leo's going to do the same thing this offseason, and they need him to take a massive step forward because, the risk you're taking not adding another 5 is if, Leo's not ready to take that on, then you're really stuck in a tough spot with Bowden Kapke being kind of your only 5-man. So I would probably put Leo Curtis at the forefront of guys that need to make that jump, probably right up there with anybody. Braden Frager's in that conversation just because they need him to be a star and a consistent game-to-game star. But I would put Leo maybe 1B in that discussion just because of the depth situation at the 5 spot, and also what his ceiling could be if he continues to grow into his full potential.
Again, we're speaking to Robin Wash with HuskerOnline.com. Wash, let's talk recruiting a little bit. And I know there's names out there for 27, and you caught up with some of those guys. But what is it that Nebraska can do, or what you're hearing about what sets them aside in the recruiting world? Obviously, we know we always like to go back and talk about NIL, where Nebraska sits versus other people. But what are some of those other things that you're hearing that, all right, this could set Nebraska apart in recruiting some of that big-time talent that they're bringing on campus?
Well, they actually have tangible winning now. That helps. Yep. Where you're not selling, like, you can be the team that gets Nebraska to a place it's never been. Well, they've been there now, and they've shown that what they're doing works and can win at elite level nationally. So that in itself is kind of a unique pitch that they're able to do now, as opposed to just selling potential. Now they're selling tangible success. And then Fred's development is another big part of it. The system that, you're starting to show, like, look at what this player can do and in this role, and how we use our big compared to other teams. And, look at what Sam Hoiberg, who came in from walk-on to, an all-league level player by sticking it out in this program. So I think there's a lot of selling points that Nebraska's had that now are stronger because of the success they had last season. But then also, I think that just the biggest one is like, they don't have to like try to convince players that what they're doing will work because it's working. And like that, I think takes you to another step in the conversation where you don't have to try to convince a recruit that, this is what our vision is, just, have faith that it's going to work. Now they actually say like, look, this is what we're doing. We won, X amount of games. We made to the Sweet 16. Like this is hop on board now because we're full steam ahead. Whereas previous years, they that was kind of the missing part of their entire recruiting approach. They're selling, actual results as opposed to potential.
Robin Washut with us here, HuskerOnline.com, talking some Husker hoops. And Robin, we briefly did mention 5 for 5. I want to dive a little further into that. I asked the question on social media yesterday. It's going to change the naming conventions for folks across college sports. First year's a freshman, second year's a sophomore, third year's a junior, fourth year's a senior. What are you going to call a fifth year guy moving forward?
Probably a fifth year.
That's no fun. That's no fun.
Yeah. because it's like you can't change the academic names. So those names are still the same. So I think if you just call them a fifth. Or a
super senior,
a 5 year. Sure, you can go. Well, because you can go super senior. I'll probably stick with fifth year, just because it's easy. Everybody knows what you're talking about. And now, when everyone's operating on the same clock, fifth year actually means something because you're not talking about a guy that's going to play 8 years of college sports. They're playing 5, and so there's a definitive fifth in that fifth year conversation.
How much do you think this 5 for 5 rule change could change recruiting and portal strategy for football and basketball teams moving forward? Do you think it does change strategy at all?
It at least gives you some clarity as far as what your retention is going to be. Like how many off seasons, like have they gone in just not knowing, can this guy come back? Can we get a waiver for this guy? What types of things can we do to get another year for this guy? Is this team that we're playing? How many guys are they going to return? Now at least there's like pretty clear cut. Like this is what you have. This is how long you have them. Plan accordingly. And I think just having that is a massive thing, just to kind of clean up all of the unknowns and guesswork that coaches are having to do right now because no one has any idea what the rules are now and what they're going to be in 6 months. So just getting some like consensus across the board eligibility standard where this is what you have, do what you need to in those 5 years, but anything beyond that needs to be like at a pretty, exceptional, case where you can maybe get another year. So I think just having a set time frame for how long you have a player will go a long way in just easing the guesswork of roster management in terms of how long you'll actually have a player.
Well, I should always like to ask you this as well, because you're such a true professional, especially when you're in the media room and the coach is sitting up there. You have a question that you've always wanted to ask Fred, but it's not the right time or the right setting to ask him that you want me to give you a whirl for on Thursday?
Well, I figure over the last 7 years, I've asked him probably about anything. Wants me to ask. I would say,
which media member would he most like to have a beer with? That'd be nice.
Oh, there you go.
Would it be Robin Washut?
That.
Oh, God.
You should ask him that. Yes, like if he was going to assemble a media basketball team, who would be his starting 5?
That's a good question.
I'm writing it down via Robin Washut.
Yes, and keep it like Nebraska media too, because he could probably get some like I want Robbie Hummel. Like, no, you can't have Robbie Hummel. You can have me. That's what you can have.
I'll take Chris Webber. No.
Yeah, give me Grant Hill. No, you can't have Grant Hill.
Would he pick Nick Stauskas?
I would hope not. After that display in Ann Arbor, I would hope he's off the team.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good one. It's going down. You'll have to. I just hope your name gets picked, Robin.
Ask both of them. Ask the who would he most want to go? Well, he doesn't really drink beer. He drinks wine.
Oh, red wine all day.
That's fine.
It's
fine.
a nice bold cab, whether he's on the golf course or not.
Yeah. Hey, I'll throw back a Bordeaux with him.
Look at you. You're so sophisticated now.
Yeah, and then ask the starting five. So ask those two questions, and I'm going to be listening intently to see what his answers are.
Oh, this is going to be good, man. All right. That's going to be good. So, well, Robin, man, we appreciate your time as always, my friend. Take care of yourself. I'm sure I'll talk to you real soon.
And don't let him get away with some non-answer. Like press him, push him if he starts to just try to word salad his way around it. I want definitive answers on those.
Well, we got to ask. It's not playing favorites. This is assembling a basketball team.
We're trying to win.
There.
Which starting five is taking you to the dance, Coach?
He spent enough time evaluating this group. He knows what we are.
Wow, this is going to be good. So, well, Robin, brother, appreciate you, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Yep. See you guys.
Robin Watch at HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff from him. Let's take another break, and we'll come back with This Day in Sports. That is a great question.
I got to think about it.
I'm not even going to – he's going to look around the media room. As soon as we ask him, he knows it all. He's going to visually see who sits where and go.
What guy looks like a shooter? What guy look? I know I'm probably not eligible because I don't show up to the media room. But
who can box out?
Defender.
Yeah, who can box out?
Hey, I'll use those 5 fouls if I need to.
Who can run the floor? Who's going to run the? I mean, it's just a lot of stuff to think about. It's what we do in the morning hookup. Look at this. Let's see. So this. You know what I do like about all this, like the 5-5 and all this stuff. It does what I think the word is clarity, right? Should I ask Smitty if he wants to come in and talk about golf real quick? He's right there. Should I just ask him about, hey, should we ask him? Or do you think he'd be like, not talking about it?
Hey, bring him in if he's willing.
But hey, I want to sign him up for a marketing campaign. Go hit golf balls. Would he be so mad?
Schmitty's new business, replacing windows. He breaks them and he replaces them.
And he hits him with his own logo golf ball. He'd kill me, wouldn't he? He's leaving. I couldn't. He never.
Is it golf ball? It just says call blank for replacement window
blinds. Oh gosh, let's see if it'll come in. No, I'm not doing it. We should. Should I text him like, hey, you want to come talk about a new business idea on the radio that I got?
So I did give him some golf balls for Christmas last year that had his face on them. How funny would that be to hit through somebody's window? Not only you hit a golf ball through their window, but they find the golf ball and it's got whoever's did its face on it.
I'm texting him and see if he'll do it. Hey, got time to come on and talk about golf and a business idea we have? He's probably out. I didn't see him walk by. I tried to get his attention, but he never looked over at me.
He's avoiding eye contact.
He's avoiding the phone now too, probably.
All right, we're coming back here.
All right. Welcome back in the morning. Hookup special thanks to Robin Watson, HuskerOnline.com. I reacted too late, I think, to get Chris Schmidt to come on and hang out with us and us to explore a new business adventure. I like this song, by the way.
Thank you. This is, it's senior year of high school for me.
It's a good one. I like it.
Name that artist.
Hold on a minute. I should know this. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
The rapper is in
That
his
Chance.
name.
Come
There
on,
it is.
man.
There it
We
is.
used to, yeah,
You got there. You got
we
it. I
used
knew
to
you had
play,
it in
well, we used to play it like that song used to be Ty. I think he might have been 10 or 11, somewhere in there. This was his song going to baseball games.
you. That's a good one.
This used to be his song. And we used to explore songs going down the road for walk-up songs. This never made the cut, but it was a song that he liked.
Honestly, it wouldn't be a bad walk-up song.
Feeling good. Then we played that was it Feeling Good Like I Should?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
On Sundays. Because it was the Sunday
Feeling
song.
good.
Yeah. Like I should.
Yeah, okay. This day in sports history.
Yeah, it's there sports history.
I got a fun one to lead it off. Like,
All right, go.
see?
Go.
How about 1887? The
Who signed the
world's
declaration?
first motoring competition, the first motor race,
What?
is won by Marquis de Dion. I can do that better.
Francois.
Won by the Marquis de Dion in a steam-powered quadricycle built by French toy maker and engineer Georges Bouton. French newspaper Le Velocipede organized the test, and Bouton was the only participant, so he won by default. But it was a motoring competition that he won.
Do you ever watch shows and like take on the instant personality of the show?
Kind of, yeah.
I feel like you've watched documentaries with that accent.
Stereotypical French accent.
Yes.
Georges Bouton, Le Velocipede.
Oh my gosh, that's so good, man. I'm still thinking about wish Schmitty would have come in with us. On this day in 2003, Andre Agassi recaptured the #1 world ranking to become the oldest top-ranked male in the history at 33 years old, 13 days. Interesting stat. On this day in history, the Phillies, fire manager Rob Thompson.
Who?
The Phillies just fired their manager. I said on this day in sports history.
Oh, like the
they actually did it. It actually happened. So, oh man. Oh, on this day in 2016, the Rams drafted the first pick. The Rams took a quarterback. 2016. Who was it?
2016. That
career wasn't great there, but has since been traded for another. Yeah.
Okay.
It since has been a really good one since then.
I was trying to remember if Goff started with the Rams. How about on this day in 1972?
Oh,
the courts. Hear about this? We got courts talk in this day of sports history. Award the 1968 Kentucky Derby prize money and trophy to Forward Pass, who finished in second. That is because the winner, Dancer's Image, was disqualified after performance-enhancing drugs were found in the horse's urine after the race.
Wow.
That was the cover story of Sports Illustrated in 1972, which referred to it as this year's major sports story.
Also on this day in 2007, the Oakland Raiders took a quarterback at the first pick. Thought they landed one.
Is that Jamarcus Russell?
Maybe the biggest bust in NFL history. Jamarcus Russell.
How about 1987? Another first overall pick, quarterback, by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the University of Miami. Can you name that quarterback?
Vinny Testaverde.
1987. And then in 1988, 1 year later, the Baltimore Orioles lose an AL record 21 games in a row on this day.
I just looked over real quick for birthdays because I know you like to do that. Birthdays. How about, oh boy, There's some good ones on April 28th, by the way. How about happy 60th birthday, John Daly. Have a John Daly today for John Daly. How about that? There's more, too. There's a lot. I got to keep going. I thought I just saw.
Let's see.
Sorry.
How about this? St. Louis Cardinals third baseman and World Series champion David Freese.
Ooh.
Who could forget his home run in the World Series?
Oh, man. 12-time Major League Baseball All-Star World Series MVP in 1990, NFL MVP, NL MVP in 1995, 3-time Gold Glove, Cincinnati Reds, Barry Larkin. Happy birthday. Oh, wait. Yeah, so some good birthdays. Coming up, Brian Munson. Oh, quarterback in trouble. We got to talk about that. Texas Tech, what are you going to do? And stories we missed and a whole lot of you. Sit back, relax. We'll be right back.
Big air, backflips, and all-out racing. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks. The fun begins at the pit party, where you can meet the drivers, get autographs, take pictures, and see the trucks up close. Get your pit party pass at monsterjam.com today. Must have valid event ticket to enter pit party. Restrictions may apply. Rules and activities are subject to change. Visit website for event details. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena this Saturday and Sunday.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. James Brown and Bill Cowher welcoming you back to Dennis Melvin's house. It's time for the Midnight Snack Run.
This is one tricky obstacle course. Sticking to healthy habits in this kitchen is going to take focus and determination, but it can be done, JB.
He's already entered the snack part of the course, and he's eyeballing a jar of chocolate candy.
That is tempting right off the start.
Uh-oh, he's reaching, Bill, but he pushes it away.
Great stiff arm.
He's approaching a plate of delicious-looking iced cookies.
Oh, Dennis, you only want one of those.
He blows right by him for the apple.
Oh, the fridge. It's make or break time, JB.
He stares down some rich-looking treats. Uh-oh, looks like he's headed for the soda. Wait, he jukes left, grabs the water bottle, and shuts the door with his elbow in record time.
Unbelievable move. I gotta see that again.
And he's out. He even turned off the light.
That's the way you execute a midnight snack run.
Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3. Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. King Charles and Queen Camilla have arrived at the White House for the King's first state visit. This afternoon, the King will address a joint meeting of Congress. ABC News Royals contributor Victoria Murphy says it'll be a delicate balance given the strained relationship between the U.S. and the U.K. over the Iran war.
Because of the situation politically, this has become a very high-stakes visit, and King Charles is walking a bit of a tightrope. He needs to utilize that soft power and have influence, but he can't stray into anything that would be deemed to be political because that's not his role.
Elsewhere at the White House today, meetings on security protocol following this weekend's shooting. ABC's Mary Bruce with more.
Trump has repeatedly used the attack to justify the construction of his massive ballroom, arguing this is why they need this kind of secure space on White House grounds. This morning, Senate Republicans now heeding his calls, unveiling a bill to provide $400 million in mostly taxpayer money to fund the project, which Trump has insisted would be paid for by private donations.
The White House saying no to Iran's proposal to open the Strait of Hormuz in exchange for the U.S. lifting the blockade on Iranian ports. At the foreign desk, ABC's Tom Sophie Burridge.
The Trump administration is betting that the pressure on Iran's economy, which was already in dire straits before the war, is going to be enough to really pressure the Iranians to the table and into concessions or even capitulation. And the Iranians appear to think that they still have cards to play in their stranglehold over the Strait of Hormuz. The pain that's inflicting on the world economy, pushing up energy prices and gas prices in the US, with the midterms just months away, that'll be too much for Donald Trump ultimately to handle. And that is the position that we're in right now.
The United Arab Emirates, one of the largest oil producers in the world, has announced it's pulling out of OPEC, the move further weakening the oil collective's leverage over global oil supplies and prices. You're listening to ABC News.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up. I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FAME25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FAME25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FAME25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Restoring what voters approved for minimum wage. Good morning. I'm Jeff Mose. We have 48 degrees at KFOR. On Monday, Lincoln City Council member James Michael Bowers introduced an ordinance at the council's meeting that will maintain the minimum wage standard approved by Nebraska voters in November 2022. That's for 67% of local voters supported Initiative 433, which would establish a path to a $15 minimum wage in Nebraska this year and the cost of living adjustments. Earlier this year, though, the Nebraska legislature created carve-outs that would allow lower wages for younger workers and cap the voter-approved inflation adjustment at 1.75%. A public hearing, though, on the city ordinance will be held at next Monday's council meeting. It's already been a year since the nuisance vehicle ordinance went into effect in Lincoln, and data collected between April 15th, 2025, and this past April 14th shows 128 disorderly vehicles were impounded by Lincoln police. About 60% of those happening along O Street between May and June 2025, according to LPD Public Information Manager Erica Thomas.
And 57% occurred between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m., with weekends being the busiest.
Thomas says the ordinance allows LPD to impound vehicles involved in street racing and reckless driving. The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs unveiled a new special recognition coin to honor living Korean War veterans in the state. Executive Director John Hilgert says that the program in this recognition effort is unique because no other state is doing anything like this.
The Korean War recognition coin is available to all living Korean War veterans who meet the following criteria. 1, they served in the United States Armed Forces between June 27th, 1950 to January 31st, 1955.
And you must be a current legal resident of Nebraska or demonstrate Nebraska residency at the time of service and be discharged under conditions other than dishonorable. There are about 2,400 living Korean War veterans in Nebraska. Some more sunshine today expected, otherwise clouds will hang around in a high of 56. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
Your chance at winning $1,000 is happening right now at Lincoln's KFOR. Just enter this winning word by texting it to 402-258-2800 and you could be our next 1K a day winner. Here is this hour's winning word.
Lazy. Lazy. Lazy.
Now text that word to 402-258-2800 for your chance at $1,000 from Lincoln's KFOR.
Save big money on your next painting project at Menards. Do you have a painting that requires crisp, clean lines? Look no further than Frog Tape. Their premium grade painter's tape includes paint block technology that seals edges for sharp paint lines. Get your paint project started today and pick up a roll of multi-surface Frog Tape on sale now through May 3rd. Plus, check out our weekly flyer.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Welcome back in the Morning Hookup, hour number 2. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope your Tuesday's off to a great start. Great one. Don't feed it. Feed it. You know, I'm sitting in this chair. I'm kind of it's musical chairs all of a sudden in the studio. Where's the missing wheelchair? The wheelchair? The missing wheel.
Oh, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Sorry, the missing chair.
I'm like, was there ever a wheelchair?
Yeah, I said that all wrong. The chair with the missing wheel. Yeah, I said it really wrong.
Being careful.
Well, I just. Where is it
at? I think it's on the far side where Phil.
Hope our guests don't lean forward or something.
The thing is it just feels like you're going to fall.
No,
you don't actually fall.
Yeah, but as I'm looking, without giving away what's happening over there, it could be a bad deal. If somebody felt like they're falling. Just that's all I'll say.
Might do some research during the break.
You can come over now. I'll talk. If you just want, because they might be gone. Just you'll get what I'm trying to say. We're going to talk a little college football coming up, recruiting with Brian Munson coming up, and I just would be a little genuinely concerned if one of them fell forward because I think it would continue. Yes. I don't know. And oddly enough, not making fun, they're talking about some kind of insurance conversation. So, yeah. All right.
Well,
that just led me somewhere I did not know where I was going because this chair, I don't mind this one, but it grabs the back of my pants. That was too low. I got to be a little tall. I'm a short guy.
That's true.
Those are comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the worst.
Yeah, that one's squeaky and bad.
Those are the worst. That one is
broken.
Yeah.
Somebody broke that.
It's holding up the case, though.
It's funny how long that's just been sitting in the corner.
For
those that aren't watching on stream, but you can't even see, there's just a broken chair that sits in the corner of the studio for months now.
It's been there.
We have the bolts that would potentially fix it, but they're not like normal bolts. They're like a weird hex bolt pattern I haven't seen before.
I will say that's one thing about, I don't know about all the studio, but our studio, things just are just here and nobody touches them. They just, like everyone got to come in, they're exactly the same way. It's like, why are those even there? Like there's these 2 pieces of paper in front of me that I don't know whose they are, but they've been here for like 6 months.
We have a football up here that's from 2011. It's got the legends and the leaders divisions on them.
Yeah, it's just the odd thing. That chair does not move. Along with the Vapor Cool Severe Throat Lozenges. Just understood that's where they go. I didn't know what these papers are. I'm scared of touching.
Oh, they're the high school football schedules.
Oh. We talked about those
months ago.
We blame it on Moats for leaving them there.
Oh, have you seen this?
Uh-oh. Oh, I might got to go back to I was going to the story.
I'll get the headphones back on.
Here we go.
Can you read that, Hooksy?
This certifies Elijah Hart was officially declared a planetary defender on NASA's double asteroid redirection test. Is that right?
Yep.
I feel like I was at
September 26, 2022.
I feel like you just had me at the eye doctor. Did I pass?
Yeah, I took some online test that was made for school children, and they gave me this certificate, which I printed out. It's been hanging in here for a long time now.
You know, we thought about that one time because, you know, Moats covers the weather, keeps the eyes in the sky for us on KFOR when there's severe stuff. We at one point wanted to print him some fictitious certified meteorologist plaque paper and post it up there. And then, like, when we bring him on the show, we just present it with him to him and we start that. But then the almanac took over.
I like the almanac.
Yeah, the almanac stuck. So,
speaking of, well, we got insurance going on.
Yeah,
we got an almanac. The guy that tried to be a bit of a sports almanac,
woo boy,
make some money on it, was Brendan Sorsby.
I tell you what, if you haven't seen this Texas Tech transfer quarterback, Brendan Sorsby, and again, this is one that just broke weird. Oddly, it broke odd yesterday, as it said. He made a decision to seek treatment, according to sources, coming in the wake of discovery of Sorsby making thousands of online bets on a variety of sports via gambling app, which now will jeopardize his eligibility with Texas Tech. He's checking himself in voluntary. That's where the story started. As you continue through it, you start to find out a lot about what's happening and going on. Man, where's it? I just lost it. You give us details.
So it seems to have started back whenever he was a reserve redshirt role at Indiana.
2022. So this is almost 4 years ago.
The reports are he bet on Indiana in football games that he was not involved in. And he played one game that season, I believe, did not bet on that game. All the games that he bet on for Indiana, he bet both on the side of his team and in games that he was not involved in, did not affect anything. Now, you do have insider knowledge about what preparation goes into stuff and whatnot, so it's still not acceptable, but it's not as morally, it's a bit more of a moral gray area. There it is. And then more recently, it seems that he has been betting on professional sports, particularly Major League Baseball. Regardless,
it's an
NCAA violation. Regardless, there will be a suspension of some sort coming, assuming that these allegations are proven true. He's essentially admitted to them.
Now out there they have said as well, this did not draw the attention of law enforcement, is not linked to anyone the influence and outcome of a game. But what they were focused on was a flurry of small bets over a period of time that came out with this. Boy, that's a big one. That's a big one when you start looking at it. Obviously projected or sources saying that he was going to make over like $5 million in NIL at Texas Tech. He would be projected as a high-end potential draft pick in 2027. Texas Tech is in that weird situation now because obviously when you get through all the nuts and bolts here, there's no whatever. He will be suspended. Does he play at Texas Tech?
Probably not. That's my feel is probably not. And I feel like there's a good chance would the supplemental draft make sense for Sorsby? Because we talked about the fact that some of this is more of a moral gray area. It's against NCAA rules.
That's the number one thing. It's against it.
But could an NFL team look at it and say, a guy who has sought treatment, who never didn't throw games, he bet on events, but he never was involved in any of the games that he bet on. So he was not throwing anything.
Yes.
Now he broke rules.
Now remember back in 23, NCAA put out guidelines because Nebraska basketball, remember, we had one on our team. Student athletes who wager on their own games or on another sport at their school face permanent loss of college eligibility in all sports. I think this checks that box.
Yes.
On the flip side, if a college football player, for example, bets on a different school in their own sport, if he was at Indiana and betting on Nebraska, that is the loss of 50% of one season. That is not the box this checks. This checks the top box with permanent loss of eligibility.
Yes. With the fact that he bet on Indiana games while he was on the Indiana football team. So with that in mind, is this a guy who looks at the supplemental draft? And
Yes.
if you're unfamiliar, the supplemental draft is guys or teams essentially will throw down a bid on a guy with a round. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they'll throw down a 5th round wager, I guess, to put it on a guy, a bet on a guy. And hey, if your pick is the highest, you get that player in the draft, in the supplemental draft, and then you lose that 5th round pick for next year if that's the pick that you so choose. So we'll see if that would make sense. There are some quarterback needy teams in the NFL.
Yep.
But how much of it gets affected by the fact that NFL teams now look at this as being a guy that bet and has problems?
It definitely does. Now on the Texas Tech side, boy, they're in a bind. If Sorsby is obviously what you feel like it's going to happen.
Well, the Will Hammond, their backup quarterback, he is supposed to be back throwing. We'll see. He's been recovering from a torn ACL, missed the entire spring.
And they don't think he's back for the season opener, according to listen to Coach McGuire talk earlier this month.
There is some internal optimism that he might be ready. That is not like he will be ready. The timeline would be up in the air. For what it's worth, if Texas Tech added a transfer quarterback now that wasn't in the portal, they would face a fine equivalent to 20% of the program's annual budget, as well as a suspension of the head coach for 50% of the upcoming season.
Worth it? Question mark.
I'm sure there's conversations going on behind the scenes.
Because I believe, looking at that, without that spot, the Texas Tech odds and all that flip upside down than what you're expecting from a Texas Tech team with the dollars and cents they got going on down there will nonstop compete in the Big 12 forever and ever in the money world. That's a big one, boy. All right.
Can I also take this moment here to say?
Yes, you can.
I think, and I've said this before on the show, and I bring it up whenever we talk gambling. I'll say it again. I think there's a lot of judgment that gets cast in moments like these on a guy like, can't control himself. Gambling for some people out there is an addiction, just like alcohol can be, just like drugs can be. I am not here to pass judgment.
Nope.
There is an insidious nature to the gambling world for people that have those types of addictive personalities
disease.
That, I mean, it's quite easy to fall victim into, especially you see it proliferating throughout the sports world, or, hey, $50 in free bets whenever you create an account. The NFL brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Like, there is advertising that they have.
Look, man,
they've created a system that tries to draw you in.
Yes.
And the companies make money off of problem gamblers.
And look, man, ESPN
they have the warnings out there, but it's a deeper seated issue than just a quarterback that couldn't control himself. It is a system that is set up in order to draw in people. So let me throw that out there. If you're out there and you're feeling like, hey, you have a problem with this, there are resources out there that can help. There are hotlines you can call, because the system has been set up for the average Joes and Janes out there to fall victim and to fall into a world of problem gambling, because these betting companies make tons of money off of problem gamblers every single year.
The apps, the clicks, this. I mean, not blaming anybody on it, but like ESPN, the sports shows are nonstop running and lines on the bottom. They're giving you stats, figures. There's segments done on it as well, which also probably begs the question or offers a question is, and I don't know the answer, is are these universities and NCAA doing enough?
No.
From an education standpoint for these young men who are out there. He's got $5 million.
I would say as a society, it's something that the society turns a blind eye towards whenever you compare it to the resources that are out there for folks with alcohol issues and the people that have drug issues.
Look, man,
gambling feels like it's thrown to the side because it feels like people consider it more a character fault than what it truly is, which is an addiction with a system that is set up to draw you in.
Look, man, we have the conversations with our kids. This happened, I don't know, last summer, where my kid went out and was playing golf with a buddy, and they got to gambling. It starts somewhere. And we had to have an education with both of those 14-year-old boys on why this is not right. Why, and it was just a $20 bet on the golf course. Why this is not right. Any form of it at that age is impressionable.
Yes. I treat it very much like alcohol, where there's tons of folks out there that can drink in moderation. They can drink to have a good time. It does not lead to major problems in their life. I feel the same way about gambling. There's plenty of folks out there that can gamble responsibly, that do it responsibly. There are other folks out there that fall victim to these sorts of addictive traits that lead people to become problem gamblers. And I just wish there was less of a stigma around it.
Yep.
I wish that there was more resources out there for people who needed to seek help, because again, much like alcohol, there is a subset of people out there that just fall victim to the trap that it is. And gambling, I think even more so than alcohol, because alcohol has been on the forefront of society for a long time, that it's less of a trap. Gambling can be a massive trap for people that fall into it,
and more prominent in these days. Honestly, when you talk about just the athletic side and what the avenue of money, right? The money that they're being given, the pedestals that they're being put on.
Well, now even the
I mean, dude, that goes into like,
and the amount
just
of things you can
like
bet
an
on
addiction
now,
of spending money.
Yeah, and the amount of things you can bet on now with the Kalshi and the Poly market, where you can bet on every single random event in society.
And you think it's harmless at times when you're into it.
And then you get really in deep and you feel like your only way out of it is to bet more.
Yes.
I'm $3,000 in the hole. I'm one big win away from getting
and
even.
Again, what's $3,000 more to a guy with $5 million?
Yep.
Right.
So I want to make sure that there's an important conversation to be had here with the way that gambling has infiltrated its way into our society within the past 10 years.
Absolutely.
And that it's not a character fault. There's just very, very real.
You fall victim to the addiction process.
Yes. And they're trying to drag you into the addiction process because they make money off of folks who have an addiction to gambling.
Yep. Well said.
So
it's a bigger story than this quarterback isn't going to make $5 million and his team's not going to be very good.
Well, and this is huge for Texas Tech, but this is also, there is societal issues right now surrounding gambling. Again, I don't want that to take what there's plenty of folks out there who can gamble and enjoy it responsibly. They can go to the casino, they can pull up the app, they can do it responsibly, but the system is also set up to draw you in and create an addict.
Yep. Absolutely. So, all right, we'll keep up those lines looking as we go. By the way, the 10 o'clock keyword, I mean, there's arguments, right? Lazy arguments. Lazy, Lazy. Text that word to 402-258-2800. Don't be lazy. Type the number in, the chance to win $1,000 from Liberty First Credit Union. When we come back, we'll have Husker Line's Brian Munson. Good stuff there, Elijah. Good stuff. Tell you what, there's been my kid was showing me this morning. Obviously, we talked about the concert yesterday on the show. Boy. You know, when we thought, like, we're sitting talking about the memories and blah, blah. There's another side of this. There's a lot of people coming at Mr. Zach Bryan about partial refunds. It's hitting the waves.
Yeah, I did want to bring this up here quickly because this is some stats that are shocking to say the least. Young men age 18 to 25 are disproportionately at risk for problem gambling. 10% of all men age 18 to 25 show signs of addiction, which is over almost 4 times the rate of the rest of the population. 36% of boys aged 11 to 17 have reported gambling within the last year. And 43.4% of men below the age of 23 were exposed to gambling between ages 11 and 16. And 97% were exposed to gambling in some way, shape, or form before age 23. Wow. This is what I mean when I say the system is set up to draw in problem addiction gamblers. Whenever you're impressionable is when they're trying to set you up.
Agree. Wow. Those are staggering numbers, by the way.
Also, nearly half of all men between ages 18 and 49 have an active online sports betting account.
How many?
Nearly half, just under 50% of all men between age 18 and 49 have an active online sports betting account.
Wow.
I believe means they've placed a bet on an online sports betting account within the last 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Welcome back in the morning hookup. Time to figure our guy from HustleOnline.com, Brian Munson. B, what's up?
Hey guys, what's going on today?
Oh, we're just living the dream, you know. Doing a
Are you
sports
placing
show.
any bets right now?
Woo, we just came off that topic. That's a special topic, man. Well, you know what? We kind of talked about that, and we'll get your take a little bit. And Elijah brought up a great point on that. Obviously, Brandon Scoresby out there getting himself some help with, we know, a flurry of small bets. But, you know, you just wonder if from a societal point, society, we look at it, do we do enough for college athletes in the era of they're getting all this money, this disposable income? They got more avenues, and it's easier to do. But do we do enough for them to educate, teach, you know, and all that? I mean, like Elijah brought up some staggering stats about betting in different ages of where they get locked in at.
I can bring them up here. If you like to hear them, it's wild. 36% of all boys between ages 11 and 17 have reported gambling within the last year. Young men between age 18 and 25 have almost 4 times the rate of the general population of showing addiction to gambling. Just over 10% of all young men age 18 to 25 have signs of addiction with gambling. 43% of young adults, that's men below the age of 23, were first exposed to gambling between 11 and 16, and 97% were exposed before age 23. And the final crazy stat is that nearly half of men age 18 to 49 in the U.S. have an active online sports betting account. I mean, it is just set up to draw in young men whenever the minds are still developing and you don't have a fully developed brain, to get you into gambling and kind of change your brain's composition.
You know, I'm not a guy that's going to sit there and judge Thorsby too much. I didn't suffer from my own problem, but I made a mistake as a very, very young kid at a horse track, and I got escorted out by the police. So I will say that as a true disclaimer to you guys. And I learned, and I watched, you know, people think that money is the root of all evils. Well, I watched a lot of poor college kids get into really bad, jammed up situations, you know, trying to gamble in college. Most of them were like one of my friends or colleagues or whatever. And I think that the issue there is it's a common sense factor that, you know, they feel like they cannot lose, or when they have lost, that they can get it back with another bet. And I guess that kind of comes back to like what you and I would kind of say to each other. If that was the way of the world, we'd all be standing at a craps table in Vegas, and we would all be making a killing. And we know that doesn't happen. And it's just that, you know, there's a reason why things are set up the way that they are. The likelihood is definitely against you that you're going to win, you know, despite whatever information that you think that you have or the feeling. So it's, yeah, that's unfortunate. I feel bad for the kid because I think in his particular case, probably having that money is kind of almost like a disposable thing, could tempt him into trying to make more of it or play with it in ways that he wasn't even seeing the long-term picture of what was kind of going on. And obviously Texas Tech, look at their situation. I mean, they bought into a bad product, you know, a guy that had a past, had a history that was going to come back and impact them. And they're now potentially out a quarterback there because there's some real discussion about taking away his remaining eligibility. And then, you know, they're looking at their other quarterback that tore his ACL in last fall, and he probably won't be available at the start of the season. So, you know, I'm not a sympathist for the Red Raiders at all, but I'm just telling you guys, it's like, I feel bad in those particular situations because you kind of always felt that with this NIL stuff, the more money that was out there, whether it was, driving fast or, having expensive cars and things that would just make people just kind of shake their heads, that there was going to be this moment. There was going to be this gambling moment. And unfortunately, the irony is in a lot of different cases, like on all the outlets that are announcing basically the Sorsby news, they've got BetMGM and other betting things like in their ticker symbol for advertisement. It's everywhere. You can't turn on a Premier League game on Saturday without it being on there. The NFL is partners with some of these places now. It is over the top. It was very taboo. Like the guy sat at the bar, in your local hometown that would be a bookie. And now all of a sudden, all you need is a phone and an email address, and you can go ahead and make a bet. It's pretty scary.
When it's designed to make it easy. It's designed to draw in young men like Sorsby. That's why you feel bad for him. He made a mistake. Absolutely. He's going to have to live with those consequences, but he's also in a world and in a system that is designed to draw in people like him. And while the brain is still developing, give him that rush of dopamine, give him that hit, give him that feeling inside the brain that leads to addiction. It's set up in a system where you can't escape. You can't escape these betting companies. And once you do get into it, it is a system that is designed to set up and create addicts, because those betting companies make a whole bunch of money off of addicts. And yes, they provide resources, but they're going to take a lot of your money before you get the help that you need, which is case in point here with the situation. It's going to cause a lot of damage. And it's a system that is set up to design to draw in people like him.
And it's just his world. It's his world and where he's living. And I'm sure he was bored, and that's what brought on the first bet. And all of a sudden the first brought on the second, and it was just a pattern after that point. And pretty soon it's an addiction. And people don't think that is an addiction, and it is. It absolutely is. So I hope he gets the help that he needs. I think Texas Tech is going to probably suffer the consequences here a little bit. I think the vetting process here will be forever altered when it comes to portal guys, and probably needing to go ahead and include that part into the history of some of these guys that are now transferring. I think that's a very interesting thing, at least for colleges now to consider. What's in your historical past that can come back to haunt me, that's going to get you ruled ineligible, or at least get you, taken away from us for a certain amount of time? Well, gambling would be definitely one of those things. So it's beyond legal. It's now about your behavior. So that is definitely something that they need to be concerned with.
And as you look ahead to what Texas Tech does to respond to this situation, because again, I think we're all kind of in agreement here. We don't think Sorsby is going to play another snap of college football.
Yeah.
One of the things we talked about last segment was the fact that if Texas Tech was to go and get a quarterback that is not currently in the portal, like clear tampering, clear violation of the rules, they would face a suspension of the head coach for 50% of the upcoming season. And they would also face a fine that is equivalent to 20% of the operating budget of the football team. You almost have to ask the question, is that something that you would be willing to risk, something that you'd be willing to give up in order to get a quarterback in for the upcoming season? They're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Right. And now you're wondering about what the message is ethically that you're pushing out there to the public about what rules are should you break in the case of having basically no chance if a guy is ruled ineligible, and taking the chance on having no head coach and having to pay such a fine like what you had just mentioned. I mentioned on our board yesterday when all this stuff was breaking, there is another option, and it doesn't really require tampering, although tampering probably would help. But I mean, D2 guys can go up. Like they don't need a window, of time to basically go ahead and say, I'm going into the portal. They operate on a clearly different set of rules. And so if there's a D2 quarterback that was out there that they, wanted to take a look at and said, our best bet with one guy on the shelf and one guy in rehab, would be maybe to possibly go ahead and look at a lower level guy. That would potentially be a way to fix their situation. Again, probably would require some tampering, at least to let them know that, hey, if you went into the portal, we would be interested in you. But like to suggest that like Dylan Raiola could now get out of Eugene and go to Lubbock is not. It would never be the case, obviously, because there's just that one transfer window that is there, for everyone to kind of abide by now. So, like I said, it's going to really change things and how people get evaluated now that are going into the portal.
Again, we're speaking to Brian Munson with HuskerOnline.com. Well, probably why we're all sleeping and thinking of something else. And out there, Nebraska football, they added a 2027 piece, a big safety out of Georgia, which is a needed piece for that 27 class. Obviously, you have Pittman already sitting there, but you add Corey Hadley to the mix. Break him down. Tell us all about him.
Yeah, Corey Hadley was a guy that I got a heads up about early last month and put in a prediction for him that Nebraska was going to be very tough to beat for him. He is a very versatile safety, a slightly smaller kind of versatile player than Torrey Pittman, and different, I think, versatility-wise, because I see Torrey Pittman as being just like the long rangy safety that could do the cornerback things and all those good things. But I really see his versatility as really being a guy that, like, he can move over to the other side of the football and he could do something. Well, Corey Hadley, he plays safety. He could do the long rangey things that Torrey Pittman does. He could also move down the box, and play a little bit differently. He could roll over to nickel. He plays cornerback for his 7-on-7 team. The other thing is he started playing some wide receiver, and he was actually getting some college looks to play offense, so he's, again, a very versatile player that I think, Nebraska has to love, like Addison Williams has to just totally love it, to where you can get this guy, put him into the secondary, and regardless of whatever, play you're going to run, whatever scheme you want to do, you don't have to take him off the football field. He can just roll over to another spot, play a different position, and you don't have to do any type of substitution. So I think that those are the two of the better, one of the better things about both players, Pittman and Hadley, is that they have that versatility to kind of do both those things. They can play safety very, very well. They can come on down and play cornerback as well. They can get matched up, against various players. So I think Hadley is probably, a little bit more of the downhill, support the run, get closer to the line of scrimmage, a little hard-nosed guy. So yeah, I think this is a big get for Nebraska. Obviously a 4-star player, had some tremendous offers, spoke very, very, very highly of all of his visits to Nebraska. Matt Rule, Addison Williams had great things to say about them. Just felt like it was home, and this is a good get for Nebraska.
What do you make of what the future of the secondary room can be? You have Danny Odom on campus already. You look ahead to Hadley. You look ahead to Torrey Pittman coming in from the Omaha area. It feels like, and I know you don't know exactly what you have in a guy until they step foot on campus. You're able to get him in the weight room. You're able to get him on the practice field. But what do you make of what the future of that secondary can bring? Because all three of those guys kind of scream versatility on that back end.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. I think Odom is a really long, rangy cornerback that, was brought to Lincoln not to sit on the bench. I mean, they're absolutely going to be looking for him to play some sort of a role this fall, whether it's, more of a safety or going to get that chance to play corner. But man, look at 2027, the recruiting class anyway. I mean, just, you're adding Hadley and you're adding Pittman. We already know those guys are in the boat, but look at the very first weekend. You got Jalen Hill, from St. John Bosco, that has announced that he will make his commitment, I think, basically on June 7th or June 8th. Well, guess what? His official visit to Nebraska is on June 5th. So I think that that's probably a pretty good indicator about which way he's going. You got Bryce Williams coming back, and, he was just on campus a week ago. So you got Bryce Williams coming back, and he's from Fort Lauderdale, Western High School. I think that, you kind of just, and you got Kamari Whitfield. How did I forget about that? I just talked to him the other night. He's actually Danny Odom's, one of his teammates from last season at the First Academy in Orlando. So Kamari's going to be coming in the weekend of the 12th. I think Nebraska can really put a spectacular class together this year. They only had the one guy in the secondary last year in Odom, which I think obviously when you bring in this other group and you kind of put it around them, it really sets up for some big things back there in the secondary, because you have those more true looking guys like Whitfield and Odom that can play corner, but then you have this other group, where if you're going to talk about, you're going to talk about like we said, like Pittman, Talk about Hadley, how they can play a little bit different. You're talking about some other corners like Hill and Williams that are more true-looking cornerback kind of guys, but they're long, 6'2", 6'3". Kamari is a little bit shorter, under 6 foot tall. But I think that this group that they could put together this year, along with Odom, will be massive for Nebraska's defense kind of moving into the future.
Be as well as you're looking ahead and looking at that 27 class, talk about that back half of that defense. Where are other areas that Nebraska is and needs to target to really make that class true up to be a successful 27 class?
Yeah, I think that they're still doing things like with the offensive line. You can kind of, you're talking now about like Lincoln Kennedy, like you're out on him, you're out on Mark Matthews, you're out on Olu. So who's kind of left on your board? Jordan Ogbanama, you got Timmy Alu. You've got to find some ways now to bring in some other true offensive tackles, and put them, you got Erickson there. You're going to have to find a way to kind of they'll bring in some more bookended offensive tackles. I think Erickson, could play tackle, maybe more of a guard. And then you got some true up guys that could play, inside, like Kyler Kuhn. Kyler, just got a visit from Nebraska the other week. Big time interior offensive lineman that Nebraska's kind of going head to head with Iowa for. You're still trying to figure out whenever you're going to get Barrett Cottrell on campus. He still has not, set up an official visit to Nebraska, which I think is very interesting, something I mentioned in Tunnel Talk a week ago. So I think you're still trying to find the right guys on the offensive line, right? You're trying to fill up that group. I think then, tight end's a big one. I guess you got to talk about Ahmad Hudson as well, because that's becoming a very big issue within the class. They made an offer, a week or two ago to a player from Tennessee. He basically came back and said, I have a top 2. He's not even going to visit Nebraska. You lost on Cooper Terwilliger. You lost on Charles Davis. So now Hudson is basically the only tight end essentially that you have on your board, and he's set to come in for an official visit. And we've talked about this. It's going to be an ongoing race, basically. Even if he commits to LSU in June or July, it's going to be an ongoing saga, all the way up to December to figure out where he actually ends up going. So that's going to be something that will just be an ongoing deal. So I think it's offensive line, and I think after that you got to go defensive line. I think Matt Rule, has kind of finally seen the importance that's there when it comes to just you need to be dominant up front to be successful in the Big Ten. Period. I think that's probably the first rule of playing football in the Big Ten. You have to be big, strong, physical up front on both sides of the line.
Brian Munson with us here, HuskerOnline.com, talking some recruiting. And Brian, as we shift gears here, I do want to ask you, the Buffalo Bills, they had a big weekend at the draft. And how about this? They draft a punter. I just want to get your thoughts, generally speaking, on what the Bills put together this weekend and what your thoughts are now on the 2026 season as you have a little bit better idea of what the team's going to look like.
They drafted a punter 2 or 3 years ago, the kid out of San Diego State that got brought into that really bad sexual assault case.
Ariza. Yep.
Ariza. Now he's with Kansas City, and he's the Lord of Thunder, I think is what they call him, or the Lord of Boom or whatever. And he had a leg. Look, you can really always talk about and gloss over special teams, but when you got a guy that can cough and kick and put it inside the 10 consistently and stuff like that, that's where those guys really, have that tremendous value. I thought Buffalo did okay. I thought that the trading out was probably a really good move by Bean to pick up all the additional picks and basically made DJ Moore free. But at the same time, I thought it was a real big indicator to me that the minute after, the second after they had got done taking their pick in the second round, the Houston Texans, move up and take Caden McDonald right behind them. And that's the guy that I mentioned on the air with you guys. Mm-hmm. I thought Caden McDonald was a war daddy. I thought he's the kind of guy that you want to have space eating up at the nose. I would have had Dominique Orange maybe is another guy I would have traded down and maybe picked up later on in the second round. He's truly a run stopper, doesn't have great stats, but you know what? Those are the kind of guys that you just have to watch the film and see what they do responsibility wise and what they do to free up people, when it comes to making plays. And Orange is a huge kind of, run stopping, space eating defensive tackle that would have been very, very helpful for Buffalo. I think Caden McDonald would have been a little bit different. He's a special penetrating kind of defensive tackle, but all in all, I thought Buffalo did well. I think that they missed with Caden McDonald. I would have rather swapped that out with the edge pick that they took with Clemson, TJ Parker. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. Like, we jumped around here a little bit once we saw the punter come off the board. We were really excited about that one.
Hey, flip the field, baby.
No, I tell you, the two guys I do feel the best about in that whole class, Skylar Bell, the wide receiver from UConn. Absolutely love him. He looks a lot like Khalil Shakir, and I'll tell you what, he looks a little bit like Stephon Diggs. I think that's a very interesting guy. The other guy, a guy from right around here, is the Caleb Ellams-Orr, the linebacker from TCU. I had to watch a little bit of him because my son was game planning for Long Island when he was at Eastern Michigan, and he threw me the film of that kid and had me watch him and just said, for an off-the-ball linebacker, he thought he was tremendous, and he was. So I had a chance to kind of watch him specifically a little bit to see him because my son was game planning against those guys a little bit. But, yeah, that is a tremendous player right there.
Well, Brian, you know what also gets us excited, knowing that there's a new 3 and Out coming out. Preview it just a little bit so everybody knows what's coming up.
Yeah, we're obviously going to get hit on the recent commitment, Corey Hadley. That's a big thing that I don't want to sit there and gloss over. Tate Wallace is a name I think that Nebraska fans need to get to know a little bit. He was a recent linebacker offer for Nebraska. Spoke to him last night. He's going to take a visit. Kind of an interesting process for him. He's not going to schedule any official visits. He wants to take unofficial visits to all the schools that he is really considering, make a commitment, here relatively soon, and then take only an official visit to the school that he plans to commit to. So thought that was kind of an interesting thing, but it sounds like Nebraska is going to get a visit here very soon. So Tate Wallace, him, I might talk about Caden Howard here a little bit too, because Caden Howard's coming up on taking his visit to UCF this weekend. I think Nebraska's in a good situation with a lot of other players that could play wide receiver, but Caden Howard kind of specifically addresses a pretty interesting need in the class where you got just a guy that can be very dynamic and quick out of the slot, and also as a returner. So I think I got to mention some things about Caden Howard and what potentially losing him might mean to the class.
Awesome. Well, B-Man, we appreciate it, man. Can't wait to have it come out and take a peek at it. Thanks for your time, my friend. Take care of yourself. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk next week, guys. See ya.
Thank you. Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Take our final break. Come back with stories that we missed. Yep.
Banger.
A lot of stories that we missed out there. You have to bring up the one you sent me. Just that one.
Yeah. I'm
gonna let you lead it.
That
one's wild. There's a lot of them today too. There's a golf story that's coming together. A scoreless inning in baseball stopped last night.
Mason.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on. But you're starting it off with that, so that thing is crazy.
I gotta find a song.
There's a lot going on in the studio next door. Feels like it's cut out of the movie Cocoon. Moats gave me his prediction already, by the way.
Okay. I gotta go record news after this. I almost forgot.
Oh, can't go that far. Oh, it's a stupid thing.
Oh, development on Aaron Rodgers.
See what they did to him?
The right of first refusal?
Yeah. He's eligible for like a 10% raise,
Yep.
but only can sign with the Steelers. That's it.
Oh, he can sign with other teams, but the Steelers can match any offer.
Any offer. Still think he's holding them hostage and they're allowing it.
Yep.
Good morning, Todd. Good morning, Greg. See you guys out there. Thanks for hanging out. Look at that. Tore right up. Big day in the Hooks house tonight. Science fair.
Ooh, any good experiments this year there?
No, it was demonstration. It was oh gosh, the colors of the sky. It's a theme. It's the name of it.
I did one year. I built a model replica of a trebuchet.
Okay.
It could launch a tennis ball like 85 yards.
Woo!
Yeah. We had fun with it on the 4th of July. We'd put fireworks in there and launch them across the sky and they'd blow up. It was awesome. But the whole thing was like the momentum and the weight drops, counterbalance, flings it over.
So they
We'll
do
back,
it. Welcome back in the morning hookup. Special thanks to Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff. Few moments left to hang out with you guys on a Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out with us. Jump right into stories that we missed.
The stories we missed. The morning hookup.
It's on you, brother.
Yeah, how about this one, Hooksy? Wild story in the world of, I think you'd call it professional football. I sent this to you last night, Hooksy.
This, I don't even know.
There was let's set it up. A man in Kentucky. He was watching the Giants play the Patriots last fall. That was the game where Younghoe Koo had one of the funniest missed kicks ever, where he stubbed his toe into the ground, missed the ball.
Yeah, it looked like all of us chunking our wedge.
Absolute disaster. This man in Kentucky laughed so hard after that kick that it actually triggered a seizure, sending him to the hospital. That's no good.
That's no good. That's a bad start to a story.
At the hospital, the doctors discovered a tennis ball-sized brain tumor.
Oh my, what?
Which helped trigger this seizure. But because of this Younghoe Koo kick, doctors were able to remove the tumor. It was deemed not cancerous, full recovery, and the man and doctors believed that Younghoe Koo's missed kick saved his life and allowed doctors to find that tumor inside his brain.
Boy, talking about looking out for a man. Wow.
That's wild.
That is wild.
And that comes from the AP. That is not like crazy.
How do you laugh so hard? It was pretty funny.
I laughed pretty hard.
It was pretty funny.
That was one of the funnier moments in the NFL last season.
In baseball last night, Mason Miller is the top. He is human. He gave up a run yesterday.
There was some controversy.
Controversy. Yeah, they went 34 2/3 innings, by the way, the longest in franchise history, the 8th longest by reliever since 1961. Yeah, there was a play where it was rolling down the line. Miller thought he picked it up foul. The umpire deemed it fair, and it's a non-reviewable call. I didn't see it.
Would you like an umpire's?
Yes, please.
the ball is seemingly resting in foul territory. That being said, much like a strike, where if only part of the ball is in the zone that is considered a strike, it's the same way on a foul ball that comes to rest. If the ball is sitting in foul territory, but any part of the ball is overhanging the foul line, it is deemed a fair ball.
If it's touching or
people are going to pull up the screenshot with the ball seemingly sitting in foul territory. They're going to say, well, that's a foul ball. Well, if any part of the ball is overhanging that fair line, just like when it goes over the base, it is considered a fair ball. I don't think we had a great angle on if the ball was overhanging. Could that umpire have got it wrong? Absolutely. But he's right on the line. He's got the angle, and that's part of the confusion here among fans. Everyone's like, that's a foul ball. Well, if any part of the ball is overhanging that foul line, it is considered a fair ball. And I believe that's what it was. It had to have been ruled as that part of that ball was overhanging the foul line.
Big one last night. Boy, also, do you see this? Live Golf, all the stuff that's been said about Live Golf. Sources are saying they've got a tournament scheduled in late June in New Orleans. Apparently will be postponed. Sources told ESPN on Monday that the league continues to attempt to secure additional funding. Is it coming to an end? Is Liv coming to an end? Liv is saying it's all about the heat and the course is being premier shape.
Sure.
A lot of stuff, but that's something to watch.
Yeah, we all believe that, Liv.
Tomorrow, Husker legend Henry T. Buchanan. NBA, NHL, Nebraska baseball. And again, don't forget, Thursday, 10:15, Fred Hoiberg. You guys have a great Tuesday. Catch you on a hump day.